Good morning, I'm Mark Stevens. I'm at Advanced Cooling, and we're going to talk about our reheat control system for the wax, the wraparounds, and the air-to-air systems. One of my roles is I go out to the field and do startups, and one of the key questions that we get over the phone and in startup situations is, how do I know that the valves are actually in operational or reheat stage? So there are a couple ways to check on that, and that's what we're going to go over today. So in a few minutes, we'll show you the actual function of the valves and what positions they should be in for either reheat or no reheat. Okay, now we're featuring the actual demonstration unit that can be duplicated in the field. Some installations have actually gone to the point where they've put indicator lights to show when the valves are in reheat mode or in closed mode. Reheat offers you a wider span of heat that you can introduce into a wraparound system so that upon part load, you can extend your delivered air temperature to a wider range. If you didn't have reheat in some of the applications, you basically lose your reheat as the temperature goes down. But if you add more rows, which is what the valves are used in typically, you can introduce more or less reheat to the system simply by turning rows on and off to provide more reheat in part load conditions. If it's in an air-to-air system, a lot of times in certain psychometric conditions, if you have high latent loads exhausting from the building, you could get frosting on coils. So in that case, people have actually put in capacity control or reheat to momentarily turn off the exchange between the hot air leaving the building and the cold air coming into the building to do preheating. So you can momentarily turn that off to melt any frosting that might appear. So that's another reason that reheat would be introduced in a system. So what we have here is we have two switches. The green light tells us that the valve should be in reheat mode. The red light means that the valve is open and there's no reheat. So if we come up to the top here, these two flags that are on the vapor line of the wax or the axe system, these relays, I shouldn't call them relays, but these valves actually give you an indication when these marker arrows are in parallel or inline flow to the actual body of the valve. It tells you that the valve is in the open position. When they're in perpendicular like this one, it means that the valve is completely closed. And what actuates these valves is a simple relay opening and closing, and your information that is brought back to the building management system to indicate whether you need more or less reheat. These take approximately about a minute to go from an open stage to a closed stage. So they're very valuable, but this is usually the question that will come up, and they'll ask about, hey, I'm not hitting a specific number, and a lot of times it may be that the wiring may have been incorrect or that the valves are not indicated properly because something is backwards in the wiring. So if you can confirm that the valves are in an open position or closed position, that usually indicates the state of your reheat, whether it should be getting some or not. The other thing you can do if you are good at electronics, you can actually go into the relays and jumper them in the control panel and force the valves to open and close for testing. But these indicator pointers are your best guess on where you're at as far as offering reheat or no reheat. So system is really, really simple. In the event that these motor bodies go bad, they can be easily removed and another motor body put in to open and close the valves. So servicing becomes very simple in the field. And that's about as hard as it gets on your installation and operating manuals utilizing reheat in the field. Thanks for joining us.